really hope that's how you pronounce her name. Marasi? I really don't know how to pronounce her name. Hey guys, it's Kesara, and today I'm going to be doing my reading vlog for the Wax and Wayne trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, also known as Mistborn Era 2, which I'm super excited for you guys. There will be tons and tons of spoilers because this is a spoiler-filled vlog. If you want my spoiler-free thoughts, I did talk about it on my February wrap-up. These are all the spoilery thoughts. So if you haven't read these books, highly recommend go and read those books, and then you can come back and watch this vlog. I also have a small section in the beginning about Mistborn's secret history, so you can skip over that if you haven't read it, or you can watch that as well. So without further ado, let's get into the vlog. So I want to start off this vlog with Mistborn's secret history, which is the novella that I thought takes place between Era 1 and Era 2. Turns out it doesn't take place between them, it takes place during Era 1. So I will be going into spoilers in this, so if you haven't read Era 1 for whatever reason you're watching this video, go and read that. Or if you haven't read Secret History and you just want to go to the Era 2 vlog, then go ahead and go to like this timestamp over here in the vlog so that you won't get spoiled for Secret History. But Secret History is following Kelsier after he dies in Era 1 in the first novel, and it's fantastic. I did not expect that at all. Like, I didn't expect to get more Kelsier content whatsoever, and it starts off with a bang with Kelsier punching Preservation in the face. Like, that was just great. I love his like back and forth Preservation, like he calls him Fuzz. It's such a warm relationship. I really love that, and I also just like Kelsier being back. Like, I really like his character, and I was really devastated when he was gone in the first book, but I also feel like it kind of cheapens his death a little bit, because I think part of what made the Mistborn novel so great is because they did have such dire consequences. He's not alive, but like we get to see his character again. It feels like it kind of cheapens his death a little bit because his death was just such a big thing in the first book also. That kind of annoys me, but I still like having Kelsier around. I still like having his character. I still like seeing things from his perspective, and I also really like that we're gonna get some character development from him, because I really didn't like the character development that we got from him in the first book. Like, I just felt like it was really stilted and he didn't really get that much development. It just felt like he died and like he didn't actually get to learn from like the things that he was doing and things like that. So I liked that we do get some character development out of him, but like, again, I feel like it cheapens his death just a little bit, just a little teensy bit. So that's why I haven't given this one 5 stars, because it is really great otherwise. I do think like when Brandon Sanderson writes novellas, they end up being like regular full-length novels for everyone else. I enjoyed this, but I feel like it's also more of hope for more Kelsier like content in the future kind of too. I still really enjoyed it, so I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. I really liked seeing like Kelsier in the background doing things, especially since there were like hints and clues of Kelsier like being alive or just like making moves in the background in the original series. There were like hints and clues of that, which I thought were really interesting, but I also thought it was kind of a hoax because we had the Kelsier impersonator also. I kind of like that it was somewhat true as well. I think that was an interesting dynamic that I would like to see more of. I would like to see more like misdirections like that. I think that was a pretty good twist. So I enjoyed this a lot, so I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. So I started The Alloy of Law by Brandon Sanderson, and I don't think I've read this before. I had it on my Goodreads as read because I know I've started it before, but I literally remember nothing about this book. So I don't think I've read this before, but I may have, honestly. It could be somewhat forgettable just from what I've read so far. I personally think that I'm kind of over the whole like awesome fight sequence phase when it comes to my reading, because I remember when I first picked up the first Mistborn book, I remember those fight sequences and just being like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I love every second of it. And with this one, the fight sequences were honestly just as good. Like, it actually had some more interesting things going on with the fight sequences in this one. I mean, Mistborn is actually really cool too, but anyways, there was some really interesting things going on that I really liked, but the entire time I was just thinking, when is this scene gonna be over so we can get to the real plot of this story? Which, that's just not what this series is about. I mean, it kind of is, but I don't know. I think I'm kind of over this phase, which I feel like the first book is probably gonna be more along those lines, because just like the first Mistborn book was like that too, but it like got more political and stuff towards the other books. So I'm hoping the other books I'll end up liking more than this one, because this one so far I'm not loving that much. So it may look warm and sunny outside today. It is so cold. I mean, it's not that cold. The wind chill is just pretty bad. If I had had known that it was 50 degrees, I probably would have worn sleeves. Seriously, the fountain even is so much shorter than it normally is because of the wind. But anyways, I have been making progress on the Alleyway of Law. I think the time magic is really, really cool. I don't love the characters. I actually am okay with Wayne. I don't hate him, but I don't love him. And Wax, I really don't like. He reminds me of Breeze from the first series, which kind of annoys me. I think the character that I probably like the most is Miles. Just surprising because he's kind of the antagonist. Enjoying it more than I was, at least. And they did just mention Kelsier, which I'm like super happy about it. If you haven't read Secret History, definitely should read it because I can feel like all the Easter eggs that now I'm seeing in this trilogy. So really excited for that part of it too. So totally forgot to mention this, but Marisa, or whatever however you pronounce her name, her thinking that her power of like slowing down time is useless is totally not useless. This is definitely gonna come in handy later on in the novel, if not later on in the series, where like someone gets injured or something and they can't get them to a certain place in time, so she has to like slow down time so that they like don't bleed out or something, or something else. I don't know exactly, but this is totally gonna come in handy, and I don't really understand why she thinks it's so useless. Okay, so it's Wednesday, February 16th. I actually finished it a couple days ago, but I waited to talk about it because I wanted to see if I would feel the same way about it a few days later, and honestly, I feel worse about it a few days later, which is not good. This has to be the most predictable and underwhelming Brandon Sanderson book that I've read, which isn't to say that it is super predictable and underwhelming. There is a lot that goes on in this book. Like, it's actually a pretty good book. I feel like it's just not up to his normal standard of books. What I liked about this book was the things I like about all Mistborn books, which is the magic or world building, but mostly the magic, and then the fight scenes. The fight scenes are done really well, but like I've said earlier in this vlog, I haven't really been feeling the fight scenes as much as I have in the past, so that didn't really work well for me this time around. So I didn't love this quite as much as I really wanted to. Like, I mean, I didn't expect to like this as much as other Mistborn books because I have picked it up in the past and not liked it. I really wanted to like it more, just having a different perspective now, but I just didn't. So I ended up giving this 3.5 stars. As for the ending, I do think it ended in an interesting way. I absolutely knew that Marisa, is that how you pronounce her name? I knew that her power was gonna come in handy. Like, there was no way her power was not gonna come in handy. And of course, that's exactly what they needed at the ending. So, I mean, that was great. I loved that. But like I said, super predictable. Like, it was so obvious from the moment she mentioned her powers. The other thing that really annoyed me in this book was the characters. I pretty much hated everything about the characters. I mentioned earlier that I liked Miles. He was the only character that I like even remotely liked. I didn't like Wax or Wayne, especially Wax. For some reason, I just really didn't like him. He reminded me of Breeze. I never liked Breeze, so I don't know why he reminded me of Breeze, but I just didn't like him at all. Marissa, she's fine. I really hope that's how you pronounce her name. Marasi? I really don't know how to pronounce her name. Anyways, her whole plot line, I actually like her a little bit, but I also kind of don't like her. The way we meet her is so great. I love the whole like negotiation, like that marriage negotiation thing that she does, where she's like, oh, you can have a mistress under these conditions, and I'm just like, this is fantastic. I love every second of it. And it makes me like her character a little bit, so she's like, out of all of the main characters, she's probably the one that I like the most. Future Kesara here for some fact checking. Turns out I was completely wrong about this. It's not Marisa that has that scene, the one scene that I like that I thought was Marisa. No, that's her sister, Steris, which I should have known because it's kind of obvious because Marisa is a bastard, so obviously wouldn't be engaged to Wax, but I don't know what I was thinking. So the one thing that I did like about her, turns out it's not what I like about her. I actually like that about her sister. So yeah, this did not work for me very well, but I really hate the way the romance is done. Obviously, there's not like an ending to the romance in this book. Like, it doesn't go anywhere, but I don't want it to go anywhere. Like, I feel like when it's hinted and clued at throughout the story like this, I should want it to go somewhere, but I don't feel the chemistry between her and Waxilium. It might be because I hate Wax. Like, I just don't like him. Comment down below if you guys like Wax and Wayne, because I kind of like Wayne sometimes, but I really just don't like Wax. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping the next book is better. So I started The Shadows of Self. I really like Steris. Is this an unpopular opinion? Because I feel like this would be an unpopular opinion because she doesn't seem that much of a main character compared to like Marisa and Wax and Wayne, obviously. But for some reason, I really like her. I just feel like, I don't know, she has a really interesting character that I like. So I'm enjoying this so far. I'm actually pretty far into it because I've been listening to the audiobook pretty much all day. I'm excited to see where this is going. I will say, I think I would enjoy this series a lot more if I wasn't simultaneously reading The Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie, because they're similar in like the way the world building is done. Not that the magic is the same, because it's like completely different on that scale, but in just the way it's a trilogy that's a sequel to a previous trilogy that's now in the industrial era, which is not my favorite thing. I'm comparing this a lot in my head to that, and I like First Law more than Mistborn, so it's not a fair comparison to this series. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this goes though. So I'm just about halfway through the Shadows of Self right now, and I'm enjoying this a lot more than the first one. I think part of it is I like that we're getting back to like the world building in terms of the Khandra. I think that was like one of my favorite parts of the first Mistborn trilogy, and I like that we're kind of getting back to that. So I really like that aspect of it. I will say part of the reason why I'm reading this one faster is just because I've been doing a lot of driving recently, and this is the only audiobook that I have right now, while with the Alloy of Law, I was reading like 3 other books at the same time. I'm probably gonna finish this one probably later today, maybe tomorrow, but I am enjoying this one a lot more. So it's Saturday, February 19th, and I finished The Shadows of Self. I enjoyed this a lot more than the first one, especially the ending. The ending was absolutely fantastic. I won't say that it's less predictable than the first one, because it is still somewhat predictable. Like, I predicted the ending before it happened, but at the same time, it was a better kind of predictability. It was the kind that I like to like see that it's gonna happen and then watch it unfold, and it was just so great. Of course, the thing that I predicted was that Lessa was a Khandra the whole time, which was Wax's like previous love, like the woman that he fell in love with before Maras. Still don't know how to pronounce her name. Marasi? Before Marasi. So, well, not that he's in love with Marasi, or at least they won't admit it, whatever. I still don't like that romance. But Lessa, that whole scene was great. I loved every second of it. Mind you, I do think if I liked Wax more than I do, because he's like probably my least favorite character in this entire series so far, but if I liked him, I feel like I would have like loved this so much more than I ended up liking it. But still, like, I really liked that. I liked that the twist came with so much character turmoil. I don't know if I actually felt the turmoil from Wax, other than like knowing that the situation was very difficult for him, but I still really loved it. I loved every second of that. I will say, like, for most of the book, I felt very similarly to I did at the end of like Alloy of Law, where I was like this is a good book, but I'm not loving it as much as I want to. But then I really loved the ending. So because of that, I can't give it that high of a rating, but I'm still gonna give it 4.25 stars. I enjoyed this a lot, and I'm hoping that I'm gonna end up loving The Bands of Mourning. I've heard really good things about the third book in the series, so I definitely think that I'll probably end up loving that one the most, and I'm pretty much gonna pick it up right away. And just based off of how much I liked the second book from the first book, I think The Bands of Mourning is just gonna be awesome. So yeah, really excited for that, and really glad that I ended up liking this one more than the first. It's Monday, February 21st, and I'm about halfway through The Bands of Mourning now, which I don't love everything that's going on, but I like a lot about this book. First of all, Milan. I absolutely love Milan. I think this is the one character in this series that I just absolutely love. Obviously, I like Khandra in general, so I really like that she's in this book. I also like the way she talks about things. Definitely puts other people in uncomfortable situations, which I like, and I just enjoy that character completely. What I'm annoyed by, kind of, in this book is the romance changing over to like Steris and Wax. I like Steris more than Marasi, but I feel like she deserves more than that as well. I don't know how to explain that. I just think Steris has a more like unique character, and she's more interesting because of that. I feel like she deserves a lot that she just is not getting with Wax. So I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't like Wax. I feel like that's an unpopular opinion. But anyways, am enjoying this more than the last two, so excited to see where this goes. Forgot to mention this earlier, but the usefulness scale that Steris made is just absolutely precious. So I've been doing a lot of driving recently, so I did finish The Bands of Mourning. I don't really have the bandwidth right now because I just got off of work to talk about it, but I will be talking about it once I get home, and it was interesting. Kind of wish I didn't listen to the audiobook as the ending, just because I feel like I didn't feel as much about it as maybe I would have if I read the physical book, but overall still enjoyed it, but I'll talk more about it later. Honestly, I wanted to like this more than The Shadows of Self, because I just wanted to keep building on that momentum, and I don't think that I did. I think I liked it around the same, which it makes it sound like I didn't like it as much just because I was so excited that I liked the Shadows of Self so much, but I wanted to like this so much more than that, and it didn't quite live up to that for me. I will say I liked that Daris, she's like one of my favorite characters. She plays a much bigger role in this book than she has in some of the past books, and there are a couple of other characters too that play bigger roles that I really like that they do, and I like that aspect of it, so I enjoyed this quite a lot, but it wasn't quite the fantastic finale that I was really hoping for. I know there's another Mistborn book coming out soon, so like it's fine. Like there's gonna be another one and I'm gonna be super excited for it, and hopefully I'll end up loving that one, but I did not love the Wax and Wayne series as much as I wanted to. Also, I kind of am annoyed that it's called the Wax and Wayne series because I feel like Wayne doesn't even play that big of a role in this series. Marisay and Steris, who are the female characters in the series, play a bigger role than him sometimes, and like it's annoying that it's called the Wax and Wayne series because I definitely thought it was gonna be like these two guys on the road, like sort of Western style, and it kind of wasn't, which I'm glad it wasn't because I like the way it was instead. I just don't like the name of it. Super pet peeve of me. That annoyed me too. But I still enjoyed this. It was a good book. I couldn't stop reading the series. Like I binge read the entire series. So obviously that means something. I think part of the reason why I didn't love the ending is Telsin. I think if I liked her character more, or if I was just more invested in her character, then I would have been like devastated by the turn that it took, if you know what I mean. Like if she was a bigger character in the first two books and then this betrayal happened, I would have just been like devastated. But I feel like we didn't really get to know her that much until this book, so it was kind of like, okay, like I didn't know you that well and now you betrayed me, so not that big of a deal. That's kind of how I felt about that. Also, the fact that she gets away makes me think that she's gonna show up in the Lost Metal, maybe? I don't know, but I mean, that's really the only reason I ended up reading the series is because I was like, oh, there's a 7th Mistborn book coming out, so I need to finally read this series, so I did. But honestly, I don't think that I would love this series as much as I do, because I do really love this series. I know this video doesn't seem like I love this series, but I did really love it. But I think I love it in a kind of nostalgic way because I love this world. If this was the first Mistborn trilogy and not the other one, like if they were switched, I don't think I would like the series. I don't think I would have even read the second one. I probably wouldn't even have read the second book, honestly, because I just didn't like the Alloy of Law that much. Maybe if I was a fan of Brandon Sanderson, then I would still go on and read the other 2 books. But after just these 3 books, I probably wouldn't have been reading that much more Brandon Sanderson books if this was the level of quality that I started with, as opposed to the original Mistborn trilogy, which obviously is fantastic. I'm really sad that I didn't love this like as like a new favorite series of mine, but as more of like a nostalgic like love that I love this world and I just like being back in this world, if that makes sense. It's a good book. I liked it. 4.25 stars. I don't have that many horrible things to say about it, but I also don't have that much that I actually want to like talk about it. So yeah, it was good, and I'm excited to read The Lost Metal. So let me know down in the comments if you guys are excited to read that too. It should be fun. So that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. And if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.